All right, so have you ever wanted to peek behind the curtain? To see what really goes on in the world of movie production, beyond the actors, the glamour.
It's a whole other world back there.
It is. And for this deep dive, we're going deep. We've got YouTube videos, blog posts, even a whole website dedicated to breaking down the jobs and the people who make movie magic happen.
It's easy to forget, when you're sitting there in the theater, popcorn in hand,
Oh, yeah.
that there's this whole army of talented people behind what you see on screen. Even a small film, like an indie project, needs a full crew to get it made.
So true. So where do we even start with all of this?
Well, like any big operation, a film set has a hierarchy.
Okay.
At the very top, you've got the producer,
Okay.
kind of like the CEO. They're responsible for finding the script, getting the money to actually make the film, hiring the director, and really overseeing everything from start to finish.
Mm.
Like from the very first spark of an idea all the way to you buying your ticket at the theater.
So the producer's the one calling the shots.
In a way, yeah. They lay the groundwork, but then the
Yeah.
director steps in and they take charge of the creative side.
Okay.
They guide the actors, work closely with the cinematographer, and really shape the overall look and feel of the film. It's their vision that brings the story to life.
Makes sense. But with so many moving parts, so many people, so much going on, I imagine even the director needs a right-hand person, someone to keep things running smoothly.
Absolutely. That's where the first assistant director comes in, or first AD for short.
Gotcha.
They're like the director's field general, managing the daily schedule and making sure the whole shoot is on track. Like, basically, they're making sure everyone's where they need to be when they need to be there. They're the masters of logistics on set.
I bet. Organized chaos. Now, one of the videos we have mentions this role called the best boy. And to be honest, that title feels a little, well, outdated, maybe even a little,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It definitely raises some eyebrows these days. But it's important to remember that the term best boy isn't gender specific. It really just refers to the assistant to either the gaffer, who's in charge of all the lighting, or the key grip, who's in charge of all the equipment on set that isn't, electrical.
So it's really just a hierarchy thing, not a gender thing.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And speaking of hierarchy and responsibility, there's this one role that is super important for making sure the movie actually makes sense. I'm talking about the script supervisor.
I'm picturing like a hawk-eyed person with a giant magnifying glass, making sure every detail is perfect.
Pretty much, yeah. They're like continuity detectives, making sure that everything you see on screen from shot to shot actually lines up. Like if an actor puts down a coffee cup in one scene, it's not going to magically turn into a teacup in the next.
That would be pretty jarring for the audience, wouldn't it?
It would. They're the guardians of logic, keeping track of props, costumes, dialogue. Even the direction actors are looking. They catch everything.
I have so much respect for that role. And then, of course, we can't forget the production assistants, the PAs.
Oh, the PAs.
The unsung heroes. Everyone knows they're the ones who do a little bit of everything, right? Especially keeping the coffee flowing.
That's definitely part of it, yeah. But they're really so much more than just, coffee fetchers. PAs are the ones who keep the set running. They're the ones who tackle whatever needs to be done. 1 minute they're making copies, the next they're helping set up a shot. And yeah, sometimes they're making that emergency coffee run across town. It's a demanding job. Long hours. But it's often the first step for those who want to work in film.
I feel like it's one of those jobs where you really get to see and learn everything.
Absolutely.
So speaking of starting points, let's talk about the foundation of any film, any good film, and that's the screenplay. That's where the screenwriter comes in, right? The person who's crafting the story that we eventually see up on the big screen.
Totally. But it's way more than just dialogue. They're building a world, they're creating characters that we're supposed to care about, and weaving in all those plot elements that keep us, on the edge of our seats.
Keeps you invested in the story.
It's a huge responsibility. It's a constant process of refining and reworking the story until it's just right. People say writing is rewriting for a reason.
Because the first draft is never perfect.
Never. Like a giant creative puzzle that you're constantly solving.
It must be so satisfying to see your words come to life like that.
I bet it is.
So we have our story, we have our characters, but how does that all translate to what we actually see? Who's the person responsible for making sure it's visually captivating?
That would be the director of photography, or DP, often called the cinematographer.
Okay.
They're the ones who capture the story visually. They work closely with the director to decide how each scene is framed, how it's lit, how the camera's going to move,
And that's where those cool tools come in, right? I've seen those behind-the-scenes videos, like tripods, Steadicams, dolly tracks. They all bring something unique to the visuals.
Exactly. A tripod gives you that steady, classic shot. A Steadicam lets the camera move smoothly through a scene, even if the operator's, walking or running. And dolly tracks, those create the sweeping, cinematic camera movements that can be so dramatic.
It's really amazing how much those choices can shape how we experience a film. And then, of course, there's lighting. I mean, think about it. Lighting can completely change the mood of a scene.
It can. Think
Uh,
of the DP as like a mood manipulator, a visual storyteller. They're using light and shadow to guide our eyes, to create the atmosphere, even reveal hidden emotions. A dimly lit alleyway instantly feels suspenseful, right?
mhm.
But a warm, sun-drenched room feels inviting. It's all about using light to tell the story.
Now, there are tons of other crucial roles that we haven't even touched on yet. The people who build the sets, those who edit the footage, the folks who create that incredible soundtrack. It seems like a whole village is needed to make a movie.
It really does take a village. Every single person on set, whether their name is in the credits or not, plays a vital role in bringing a story to life.
That's so true. All right, well, we're only just getting started. What other fascinating roles should we explore?
One role that's, I think, easy to overlook but really has a huge impact on how we connect with a film is the casting director.
Yeah.
They're not just like, finding good actors. They're essentially predicting who will resonate with the audience, like who's going to bring those characters to life in a believable way.
It's amazing how the right casting choice can just like totally change how you feel about a character. Could you imagine anyone else playing Indiana Jones?
It's true. Some roles become so iconic, so tied to the actor who plays them. It's hard to picture anyone else doing it. The casting director is shaping our perception of the story, sometimes without us even realizing it.
And they're not just looking for big names, right? I mean, they're constantly searching for fresh faces, those hidden gems who could be the next big star.
Exactly. That's what makes their job so exciting. They might be scouring theater productions,
Mhm.
checking out acting schools, or even, finding talent online these days. They have to have a real knack for spotting potential, for predicting who's going to connect with audiences.
We've talked about some of the more visual roles, but I'm fascinated by the people who work with sound. I know you mentioned the sound designer, but what about the people who were actually on set capturing those sounds?
The sound team.
Yeah.
They're the ones who bring the sonic landscape of the film to life. You've got the production sound mixer who's like the audio engineer, making sure every word, every rustle, every footstep is recorded perfectly, crystal clear.
I picture them like hunched over this huge mixing board, with all the dials and faders.
That's them. And they depend on the boom operator. They've got that long boom mic you see in behind the scenes videos,
Yeah.
skillfully maneuvering it above the actors to capture every line. It's a tough job. Steady hand, keen ear.
And they're not working in isolation, are they? I mean, there's a whole team, right? Making sure that every sound is perfect.
Totally. You've got the sound utility, assisting the mixer and the boom operator with all the technical stuff, like placing microphones, running cables, troubleshooting any problems. They're the unsung heroes of the sound department, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Okay, so we have the team that creates the soundscape, but what about the visual magic? The blog post we have talks about VFX supervisors who oversee all those incredible special effects. What exactly does that involve?
It's like, imagine being able to create anything you can dream up.
Wow.
Fantastical creatures, entire worlds. That's what the VFX supervisor does. They're like the wizards of the film world, blending cutting-edge technology with artistic vision to create those jaw-dropping visual effects.
So they're involved right from the start, even before filming begins.
Absolutely. They work with the director and the production designer during pre-production to plan out all the visual effects sequences. Sometimes they even create pre-visualizations, which are like rough computer-generated versions of the effects, so everyone can get an idea of how those elements will look in the final film.
So are they kind of like architects designing the visual landscape of the film?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And during filming, they might actually be on set, overseeing the shooting of scenes that involve visual effects,
Yeah.
making sure everything is captured correctly so those effects can be seamlessly integrated later on.
And then post-production is when they really come in, right? That's when all the magic happens.
Exactly. They work with teams of incredibly talented artists,
Yeah.
animators, compositors, lighting specialists, to bring those visual effects to life. It's a really complex, meticulous process. It requires a unique combination of artistic vision and, of course, technical expertise.
It's mind-blowing to think about all the work that goes into creating those effects, especially when they look so real on screen, you just don't even think about it.
It's a real testament to the talent and the dedication of those VFX teams.
And speaking of talent and dedication, let's not forget about the folks who create the physical environments of the film. The production designers, the set decorators, and all those skilled craftspeople who actually build and dress the sets.
Yes, those roles are so crucial for creating that world that the story takes place in. The production designer is kind of like the visual storyteller for the whole film, right? I mean, they're establishing the look and feel of the settings.
They are. They work closely with the director to develop a visual concept, something that captures the essence of the story. And then they have to translate that concept into real, tangible environments. They have to think about everything: the architecture of the buildings, the color palette of the rooms, even the smallest details that give each location its unique character.
And then the set decorator steps in to add all those finishing touches, right?
Yeah.
The things that bring the set to life, kind of like the interior designer of the film world. That's a great analogy. They're responsible for selecting all the furniture, the artwork, curtains, rugs, even those little knickknacks that you might not even consciously notice, but they all contribute to the atmosphere. They make the set feel lived in, authentic, whether it's, a lavish mansion or a rundown apartment.
I love that. I love that even the smallest details are carefully chosen to create a specific feeling.
Absolutely. Every element is considered, from the type of fabric on the sofa to the pattern on the wallpaper. And it's not just interiors, they also handle exterior locations, making sure that everything from the street signs to the park benches to the types of cars parked on the street fits the overall visual style of the film.
That's incredible. It sounds like a job that requires a lot of creativity, a lot of resourcefulness, but someone has to actually build those elaborate sets that the production designer comes up with.
Right. That's where the construction crew comes in. They're the skilled carpenters, welders, painters, all those craftspeople who take the production designer's vision and make it a reality. They're building everything, from towering walls and staircases to intricate details like molding and paneling. It's physically demanding work, requires precision, teamwork, and a lot of problem-solving skills.
It's really amazing how many skilled hands are involved, even before a single camera rolls.
It's a true collaboration, everyone working together to create the physical world of the film. But once those sets are built and decorated, they still need to be lit effectively to capture the right mood, the right atmosphere.
Lighting can totally transform how a space feels.
Exactly. That's where the gaffer and their team of electricians come in. They work closely with the DP to design and implement a lighting plan to enhance the storytelling, create depth, highlight key elements, and establish the mood as each scene.
So it's not just about making sure the actors are visible. It's about using light creatively to tell the story.
Exactly. Light can evoke emotions, create suspense, even reveal character. A dimly lit room can feel intimate or mysterious, while harsh shadows can add a sense of danger or unease.
And speaking of revealing character, let's talk about the costume department. Their work has such a huge impact on how we see those characters.
You're right. Costumes are more than just clothes. They tell a story, revealing a character's personality, background, even their emotional state. The costume designer works with the director and the actors to create costumes that are visually compelling, but also, meaningful to the story.
So they're kind of like fashion detectives, using clothing to uncover clues about who these characters are.
I like that. They have to consider the psychology of clothing, understand how colors, fabrics, and styles can evoke certain emotions, associations, and they need to make sure that costumes are practical, allowing the actors to move freely, to perform effectively.
And then you have the costume supervisor who's overseeing the whole wardrobe process, right? Making sure everything runs smoothly.
Exactly. They manage the budget, they schedule fittings, they make sure the costumes are properly cared for and maintained, and they're on set, to help the actors with any wardrobe needs.
Sounds like a busy job, but it must be so satisfying to see those costumes come to life on screen.
It is. And while we're on the topic of bringing characters to life, let's not forget about the hair and makeup department. They play a huge role in transforming actors into the characters we see on screen.
They're the artists who use makeup and hairstyling to enhance features, create specific looks, and even, age actors convincingly.
Exactly. The key makeup artist is the one who leads the team, working with the director, working with the actors to design those looks for each character. They might use, subtle techniques to enhance natural beauty, or they might create these dramatic transformations using prosthetics, using special effects makeup.
I bet they have a whole bag of tricks.
Oh, they do. It's fascinating. A blend of artistry and technical skill. They might need to age an actor, create realistic wounds or scars, or even transform someone into, like, a fantastical creature.
Wow. It's amazing to think about the skill, the precision that goes into those on-screen looks.
It's an art form.
Yeah,
And, all this amazing work requires someone to keep track of the money, make sure the production doesn't go off the rails financially.
of course. So, who's the one in charge of managing the film's budget, making sure everything stays on track financially?
That would be the line producer. They're like the CFO of the film production, overseeing the day-to-day operations, managing the budget, creating schedules, and making sure everyone's working efficiently.
They must be incredibly organized. And I bet they have to make some tough decisions when it comes to money.
They do. They're responsible for making sure the film actually gets made on time and within budget. They also work closely with the production manager, who handles a lot of the day-to-day logistics, things like transportation, catering, accommodations.
So it's a real balancing act, making sure the creative vision is realized while also staying within the financial constraints.
Absolutely. Team effort. Communication is key. And speaking of keeping things running smoothly, we can't forget the production coordinator.
What's their role in all of this?
They're the ones who keep the production organized, keep it on schedule. They're handling a million different tasks, from scheduling meetings and booking travel to managing all the paperwork and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Sounds like they need to be master multitaskers.
They do. It's a demanding job. But it's also a great way to learn all the ins and outs of film production. And while we've been focusing on the folks on set, there are other really essential roles that often happen behind the scenes.
Like who?
Well, for starters, there's the legal team, making sure all the contracts are in order, all the rights and clearances are secured, that everything's, legally sound.
Can't forget about the lawyers.
You don't want to get sued for using a song without permission.
Nope.
And then there's the marketing and publicity team, working hard to get the word out about the film, build excitement for the release.
They're the ones creating the trailers, the posters, the social media campaigns, all the things that make us want to see the movie.
Right. Generating buzz, arranging screenings, interviews, working with the studio or distributor to get the film in front of the right audience.
It's amazing. It's really amazing how many different people, how many different skill sets come together to bring a film from an idea to a finished product.
It's a massive undertaking. And we've really only scratched the surface of this vast, fascinating world. But, we've talked a lot about the people involved. But I'm curious about the actual process. How does a film actually get made? Like step by step.
That's a great point. We've explored all these roles, but what are the different stages of production? What happens during each phase? How does it all flow together?
It's a journey. And that journey is usually divided into three main stages: pre-production, production, and post-production.
Okay, let's break it down. Where do we start?
It all begins with pre-production, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the planning, the preparation. This is when the filmmakers are developing the script, figuring out the budget, hiring the crew, casting the actors, scouting locations, and creating a detailed shooting schedule.
So it's like laying the groundwork, making sure everything's in order before the cameras start rolling.
Exactly, like creating a blueprint for the whole film. And the decisions made during pre-production have a huge impact on everything that comes after.
Then we move into production. Right. The exciting part. The part where the movie magic actually happens.
This is the part that most people think of when they imagine filmmaking, yeah.
Hmm.
Exciting, for sure, but also incredibly demanding. Long hours, problem solving, everyone working together under pressure to bring those scenes to life.
I bet there's a real energy on set during production.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a whirlwind of activity. The directors guiding the actors, the cinematographers capturing the visuals, the sound teams recording every little detail, and all of the other crew members working behind the scenes. It's amazing to watch it all come together.
And then finally, you have post-production. This is where all that raw footage gets transformed into the final film we see.
This is where the editor really comes in. They take all those hours of footage and shape them into a cohesive, compelling story.
This is making me think about a role we haven't talked much about. The editor. They have such a huge impact on how we experience the story.
They really do. The editor's like an invisible storyteller, piecing together the best takes, trimming scenes, finding that perfect rhythm and pacing, making sure the emotional impact hits just right.
It's like they're writing the story all over again, but this time with images and sound.
That's a great way to put it. A skilled editor can completely transform a film, make it flow, keep the audience engaged, even guide our emotions.
It's making me realize even the most technically amazing film needs a really good editor to make it work.
It does. It's a good reminder that filmmaking is a collaboration. Every role is important.
So true. We've been talking a lot about traditional filmmaking, but what about those films that really push boundaries, that experiment with the way they tell stories?
That's where experimental filmmaking comes in. These are the rule breakers, the innovators, the filmmakers who aren't afraid to try something new and really challenge our expectations of what a film can be.
So it's not just about big budget, big special effects. It's about pushing the boundaries of film as an art form.
Exactly. They might be exploring new technologies, using unconventional filming techniques, playing with narrative in unexpected ways. They're often working, on the fringes of the industry, driven by this passion to really push the limits of what cinema can express.
It's so inspiring to think that film can be more than just entertainment. It can be a way to explore new ideas, challenge our perspectives, experience the world in a totally new way.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that film is a living art form. It's constantly evolving, adapting.
As we've been going through all these roles and processes, something that keeps coming to mind is diversity and inclusion. Why is that so crucial for the future of film?
It's not just about fairness or representation, though those are important, of course. But when we have a wider range of voices and perspectives behind the camera, we get more interesting stories, more authentic stories, more impactful stories.
It just opens up so many possibilities. We get to see the world through different lenses, connect with stories that might have otherwise remained untold.
Exactly. Diversity enriches everything. It leads to more nuanced, more compelling films.
Mm.
And when audiences can see themselves represented on screen, it creates this sense of connection that's so powerful.
It's great to see the industry making progress in this area. There are more and more initiatives to support filmmakers from underrepresented backgrounds.
Yeah, there's definitely some positive changes happening, but there's still work to be done. We need to keep pushing for more diversity in all aspects of filmmaking, from the writers and directors to the producers and studio execs. And we need to make sure that those diverse voices are heard, that they're not just included for appearances.
It's about creating a film industry where everyone has the opportunity to tell their stories, to share their perspectives.
Exactly. And when that happens, everyone benefits. We get to experience new stories, we learn from different perspectives, we see the world in a richer, more complex way.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. It's really opened my eyes to the world of filmmaking. It's so much more than just entertainment. It's art, it's technology, it's collaboration. It's something that has the power to connect us, challenge us, and inspire us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a pleasure exploring this all with you.
As we wrap up, I want to encourage all our listeners to keep exploring the world of film, to appreciate all the people behind the scenes, to never stop being curious about the magic of movies.
Well said. And until our next deep dive, keep watching, keep learning, and keep those creative sparks flying.